Well, good morning, everyone. I'm here with Cameron of Tarachi Resources for a little update. We were just saying hi earlier, and Cameron was saying he's having a good morning because you guys, gold is up 30 bucks today, and Tarachi put out some pretty interesting drill results from the Habali project. So let me just hand it over to you to set the stage here for what you were trying to what drilling you have done. It's been a bit of an iterative process, drilling from these underground workings at Habali and trying to understand the orientation of the zone that you're getting into. So why don't you paint the picture and then you can layer in what these new results told you.
Yeah, so we started at Habali sort of in the middle of last year, initially with some underground channel sampling. And that channel sampling we did sort of covered the full length of the active face there in the underground mine workings, about 65 meters in length. And we came back with about 6.3 grams per ton over that length, including some high-grade intercepts up to 55 grams per ton and a number of other sort of medium-grade intercepts as well, which was really exciting for us. And the reason why we wanted to go down there with an underground drill rig and see just how extensive it was. So we drilled a number of holes down there towards the end of last year with this underground rig. And then this phase that we just announced today, the results from sort of the follow-up to that. And like you said, we've been trying to understand the orientation of the mineralized system here. Not easy to do from drilling within the underground workings, especially because the drill can only sit in one place that we fan out from, especially so the drill is basically inside the mineralized body already. Has been a little difficult, but I think we finally have a good handle on it and understand now sort of where the gold is trapped and where it's going and where the potential is here in terms of a long strike and down dip.
All right. So, I mean, the headline number from today was, the numbers are about 63.5 meters, grading 7+ grams gold. That's the number?
We were 6.9 grams, so just shy of 7 there.
Over. Okay. So, I mean, anybody would take 60+ meters of 7 grams gold any day of the week. That's a great number. But again, let's talk about orientation. You're starting inside the zone, and this was like a hole that was pointed sort of southeast in a zone that largely dips east. So we were to some extent tracking along the zone from what you understand for this hole.
That's right. Yeah, we were really drilling through the zone and not across it. We have since drilled some holes from the surface. Last month, we did bring in a surface RC rig. And with that, we're testing the potential extent towards the south from the Ladura mine. And this is also going to give us a better understanding as well of what the true thickness of this mineralized body is and whether or not the gold is continuous to the south and to the east. We don't have any results yet from that RC rig, but of course, after seeing this drill hole, we're pretty excited to get those back in the next couple of weeks. But it'll give us a much better understanding of where this thing is moving and where it's going and where we should go next in terms of a phase 3 program.
Okay, so let's talk about, what you do know about the zone is that it does seem to dip to the east. There's some topography that might cut it off in that direction, right? Like the hill goes down that way. So there's some down dip extent available, but not endless down dip extent. And then, so the other real potential is, like you say, a long strike to the south. And then there's also some east-west structures that you think are grade significant. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, what we've been noticing originally from the channel sampling, and then also we suspect from some of this drilling as well, is that while the mineralized sort of like a panel that we're targeting may dip to the east and plunge a little bit to the south, we seem to find the gold may be concentrated in higher grade chutes or zones that seem to strike sort of east-west, which is why when we did that channel sampling north-south, we came across a bunch of higher grade intervals. And then also with this drill hole number 9, the big one that we released today, we covered a couple of really good intercepts as well. I think some of the subintervals were just over 9 meters and almost 14 meters, both which contained about 17.4 grams per ton. So the great thing about these is we're not drilling. Typically in Mexico, a lot of high grade gold and silver mines are following pretty narrow veins that might only be a foot in width, or they're targeting some little super high grade finger width veins that they kind of spread across a mining width. But what we're seeing here is pretty consistent gold. When we hit these high zones, it's not just concentrated in a single sample interval of a half meter. We're seeing multiple meters and multiple samples coming back with good grades.
And then this zone is like fairly close to surface, right? We're also this isn't a very deep situation. So just in terms of, in terms of mineability, obviously we're getting ahead of ourselves to talk about mineability, but that's an important thing to do as soon as as soon as a discovery is made. This is a reasonably close to surface opportunity.
Very close to surface. I mean, even though we're drilling from the underground workings, the drill itself is probably only 20 meters underground from the surface, and we're drilling pretty shallow holes at typically 30-degree dips. So, and given that we were intercepting these sort of right off the bat from meter zero, the intercepts that we're getting are quite close to surface. And like you said, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but if we can shore up a resource here, some of it certainly would be amenable to open pit mining, I would think.
All right. Okay. So that's Habali. Obviously, now we're pretty interested to see what other results you can pull from that area, from these surface holes. That'll give us a better understanding of how thick this package is, this panel. It's a good way to describe it, how thick this panel is. And maybe from there, we'll start to wrap our heads around a number of ounces that might be contained in this potentially open pit mineable discovery. So that's exciting. The Habali is not the only thing that Tarachi is doing. So let's quickly run through everything else that's on your plate.
Well, right now our geology team is actually down at our Magistral Mill and Tailings project in the state of Durango. This is the project that we picked up earlier this year. It's got a facility custom built for reprocessing high-grade tailings. And so what we're doing right now is we're actually drilling off this tailings basin. So we've got an auger drill rig there. It's doing sort of 3 or 4 holes a day. And the sample material from that's going to be sent up to labs in Kamloops, BC, both to do the assay testing as part of our NI 43-101 compliant resource estimate that we plan on putting out for the tailings material itself, and also to provide some sort of more bulk composite material that Ausenco Engineering, who's doing our PEA study, can use for some metallurgical test work.
And do you have timelines on some of that? I mean, I guess the PEA is the thing. I guess the resource and the PEA, will they be coincident or one after another? And what sort of timelines are you expecting? Because these should be value drivers for Tarachi stock, because it'll help the market understand the value of this magistral opportunity. Tailings facilities and plans come in a wide range of real to dreamy. And I mean, this one seems more real to me, but I feel like the study should help the market wrap its head around that.
Yeah, we think that PEA is going to be a really significant milestone for Tarachi Gold. We may be able to release the resource estimate a little bit prior to that if we get those results first. We are expecting the PEA. We were hoping kind of by the end of the first half of this year, but we had a couple weeks delay in just getting the drilling equipment, everything set up on site there. So we do expect that by midsummer, hopefully sometime in July. And from there, we'll have a much clearer picture in terms of what our pathway to production looks like, what the potential sort of CapEx is going to look like. I mean, we are expecting it to be a very low CapEx project because the facility is almost completely built and on site and just about ready to go. But with Ausenco doing that metallurgical test work, they may come back with some recommendations on how we can modify the flow sheet or add some additional equipment into the facility, possibly to increase gold recoveries or reduce some of our operating costs.
Gotcha. Okay, so I mean, the easiest way for investors to wrap their head around it is really this two-part story, right? The Habali, which is now a pretty clearly exciting panel of gold mineralization with some good consistency and grade mixed in, and now potentially some scale. We need these pending results to come in to really understand how that scale is going to flesh out. But that's the Habali side of things, and that was a pretty exciting result that came out today. And then there's the magistral side, where the numbers we're going to have to be a little bit patient for the numbers, another few months before we really get to see them. But for those who want to get in ahead of those numbers, I mean, the magistral opportunity was really what attracted me to the Tarachi story in the first place. I don't know if you have a preference for one story over the other.
Well, I think my background is in mining engineering, and I've actually worked on some of these tailings reprocessing projects in the past. So certainly for me, that the prospect of generating cash flow for the company, I think, is really what sets Tarachi Gold apart from the rest of the junior exploration space, and really gives us the potential to self-fund our own exploration efforts going forward, so we don't have to keep diluting shareholders every time we want to do a new drill program. And then in addition to that, our geologists are going to be completing that tailings drilling program and then moving up to our San Javier concession, which is a little further north from Habali, where we're planning a phase 2 program there. We intercepted some good mineralized breccia systems there previously at the end of last year. So we have a small phase 2 program just targeting and seeing what's at the deeper extent of these breccia systems, and we'll be doing that while we wait for the assays to come back from the Habali surface drilling before we can plan a phase 3 down there.
Right, silly me. I got excited about Habali and Magistral and forgot to even ask about San Javier.
We got to have a lot to keep our geologists busy down there. They're going to be bouncing around from project to project. So
that's perfect. All right, well, great to chat with you on an exciting day, and I'm sure we will touch base again next time you have news.
Thanks, Gwen. It's always fun to catch up.